You shouldn't have done that. And now you look stupid and I don't. So there. You should have done a nice face for the thumbnail. You should have smiled. You didn't. Hey, everybody. Hi. I've got one person in here. That's awesome. Breaking news. I have some bad news for you guys. Hopefully this is working because sometimes YouTube's not been working very well. Are we on the... Okay. Hey, guys. My water bottle that I have been loving has bailed. So you know how we've all been buying these water bottles that say like where you're supposed to be drinking by a certain time? Notice it's no longer functioning for me. I guess this one is not dishwasher safe. I thought it was. This is the one by Toy Health. So if you got this, if you pick this up, don't put it in. Was it in the bottom rack of the dishwasher? Probably in the bottom rack. So just want to let you all know. I no longer know how much water I've had. And so now I haven't had my water today. So we have it out here. I have a special guest. I have a skinny husband with me for this evening. My trim. Well, thin. She says thin. I have my thin husband.
Finish.
Finish. Thinner. How about thinner than me?
Right.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the Beck diet solution. And I know some of you guys are reading this along with me. And so this chapter, he doesn't know why he's out here. Oh, I did have a question today. Somebody asked me if I was leaving Weight Watchers. No, I'm not leaving Weight Watchers. I just was answering questions for people in the chat. So I posted some stuff about my video yesterday. So I'm not going anywhere. I was just answering questions. Okay, so this chapter is called How Thin People Think. Here's the thing, though. I don't know where she got this information. So I'm reading the Beck Diet Solution. Let me tell you by who's it by? Info. Judith S. Beck. It has a pink cover, if you can see the cover on that, the Beck Diet Solution. It's not a diet. This is just how to change your mindset, basically. So that's what we're working on. So this chapter is sort of this idea, the synopsis would be, we're supposed to try to understand how thin people think, which for me, I think has been a challenge for us. Because we have such different ways of like eating and approaching food, and this has been like our entire marriage, wouldn't you say? So like, I'll give him a moment to answer.
Yes. More so, not so much at first, but then it got more and more that way.
Yeah. Well, at first, I don't think we were college students.
Right.
So we didn't really, we just ate whatever. We ate a lot of hot dogs, because we were broke when we first got married. We've been married 26 years. So, I think I really wasn't doing anything about my weight until after I had the boys. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So until I was in my late 20s is when I realized, I probably should do something about this. And you never said anything to me about it. And that's when I first started going to Weight Watchers. Was in my late 20s. Although growing up, I had been through other things with my mom. Really, when I met you, it was more about just establishing our life, and I wasn't concentrating a lot on health. You, however, your relationship with food is not a love, romantic, passion relationship. My relationship with food is really different than yours.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that a question or is that a statement?
Well, I don't know. You tell me.
Should I speak up?
Yeah.
Ask me the question again.
Well, no, I mean, how would you characterize your relationship with food?
So growing up, like we never talked about it, right? It wasn't
You didn't talk about food.
No, well, I mean, it was you were eating, like there was always meals and everything like that, but we didn't eat out a lot. We were pretty broke. You know, I grew up pretty poor. We didn't eat out very much. My mother cooked all the time. But we just didn't like it wasn't like a present thing, you know? Like it wasn't always on our mind about what are you eating and how you're going to eat and all that kind of thing.
Well, they were more concerned with having enough money to feed you, period.
Right. 5 children.
So, you know, his dad was a hunter and he hunted to feed his family. You know,
we ate a lot of game and fish and stuff like that, but
rabbits, squirrel,
right.
Deer, the whole, you know, whatever his dad could kill for the 5 kids.
And that wasn't
legally.
Not that. Yeah, it wasn't that extreme.
It was extreme.
It wasn't that extreme. But we didn't. We just didn't talk about it all the time. It seems like after we got married, and I think about this often. It's like we think about food all the time. We think about what are we going to eat? How are we going to eat? Is it going to be fattening? Is it, you know, all that kind of thing. And we just never did that. We never talked about it. It was never part of our conversation.
And I think like for your parents, you know, they worked so hard to provide food for you guys that it was more of like a Thanksgiving type. Oh, we're so thankful we have food and it's good. You know, and your mom learned how to cook and make really yummy dishes. You were very picky growing up though, in terms of eating.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I still have a very narrow, right? A very narrow window of foods I really like.
Yeah. So of the 5 kids, really all 5 of you guys are pretty healthy. You have one sibling that sometimes gains a little extra weight, but growing up, he wasn't really like that. And your sisters have had no weight problems. Your mom has kind of struggled here and there, you know. But anyway, so that's his background. My background was my mom didn't really cook. We ate a lot of fast food. I didn't really have a significant weight problem, but I was on diets with her growing up. And both myself and my brothers both struggle with our weight, or all 3 of us struggle with our weight, and we really have to work on maintaining it. So that's kind of a background for you. So let's talk about this chapter. It's talking about how thin people think, with the premise of we're wondering how a thinner person would think. And I thought this would be a good thing to bounce off somebody that doesn't have a weight problem and see if this is accurate, because I'm all about, is this accurate? Like I always want to know, where did this come from?
Evidence-based.
Right. So the question that she poses is, have you ever wondered why you can't lose weight or keep off the weight that you've lost? And how are you different from people that don't struggle with food and weight? So there's some characteristics that she proposes that are different for a thin person, that they think differently in these ways. And the first characteristic is, I confuse hunger with the desire to eat. Okay. So naturally thin people are more easily able to differentiate between when they're truly hungry because their stomachs are empty, and when their stomachs aren't empty, but they have a desire to eat. So the difference here is like you actually know when you're hungry, whereas I can always eat. I don't have to be hungry. Like,
Okay.
Does that make sense? So would you say that's accurate? That you know when you're hungry? Do you know the difference between being hungry and just wanting to eat?
I would say that for the most part, I don't ever want to just to eat.
Yeah. That's not fair.
Like that doesn't ever, but it's not always. Like every night, I want a little treat. Not because I need it, not because I'm hungry, but I do want to eat something every night, right?
He always has a little
something.
A little dessert, but you have a 1 serving size of a dessert, and you look forward to that in the evenings, and you have that, and then you're done. It's not like you go eat a sleeve of Oreos or a package of Oreos.
You just want a little something to satisfy that craving. But
you're not hungry at that point.
No, I'm not hungry for that.
Okay, interesting. So to think like a thin person, you must learn to tell the difference between hunger and then just the desire to eat. I'd love to hear from you guys, like what you think about that, because we've been talking about triggers and there's all these different reasons why we eat, and we have to learn to differentiate between true physical hunger and just eating to eating for eating's sake, which you don't ever do. Like if he's not hungry, if we've gone out to dinner and he's not hungry and we're at the nicest, most beautiful restaurant on the face of the planet, he'll be like, I'm not going to order anything. I'll be like, what do you mean? I'm not hungry. And he doesn't, just even if he's just had breakfast and he didn't have anything else the rest of the day, if he's not hungry,
if I'm not hungry, I don't eat.
He's not going to eat.
No.
Whereas we just finished dinner, I could always go out for a nice dessert and canapes and a glass of wine. I think canapes are actually, you eat those before you eat dinner. Okay. So I have a low tolerance for hunger and cravings. This is characteristic number 2. Most thin people feel hungry and occasionally notice cravings, but they don't dwell on these feelings. Generally, they don't think that much about food at all.
Correct. But it's not different. There are certain things I really like, and I will prepare and think about that, and I look forward to it, like lasagna, for instance.
Lasagna.
But then after I eat that one time, like it's done. Like I don't like leftovers. I don't like to return to that thing.
Whereas if I make an amazing
satisfied.
lasagna, I want lasagna and more lasagna and more lasagna. Like you can never get enough of a good thing. This is the difference between you and I. So it says you always think that you'll be able to find something when you're hungry, or you'll just withstand the hunger if it's not convenient to eat.
Yes.
And he will do that. Like he will go, it's just not convenient to eat. I don't care if I'm dying. And I'll be like, haven't you eaten anything yet? I've got things to do. It's not a priority. Whereas with me,
well, it's a priority because I schedule things. So I like to have my morning routine, my lunch. I like to have dinner and my little thing. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And
okay. So this book says that in order for me to think more like a thin person or like my husband, I have to be able to learn to tell the difference between hunger and the desire to eat. And apparently this program helps you with that, she talks about. So that's characteristic number 2. Characteristic number 3, you like the feeling of being full. Thin people usually like to eat to the point where they're reasonably full. It doesn't feel right if they've eaten so much that they feel a little uncomfortable taking a brisk walk after a meal. What do you think about that?
I don't like feeling full. Is that what they're saying?
You like to eat to the point where you're reasonably full, but you don't like to be stuffed.
Correct. That's very correct. Yeah. Like we just had spaghetti and I feel over full at the moment because it's real heavy, Right. But I'm also thinking like I want a treat later, but I can't eat too soon because I'll be sick, right?
He's thinking about his treat later on tonight. Okay, so I don't like to be overly stuffed either, but I think that has been something that's happened over time. So I'm trying to think if, I think back when I used to eat a lot more, I really liked that full feeling. Right. But yeah, I think so. I never liked the Thanksgiving full feeling. So, I don't like that overstuffed feeling. But I will tell you, I do eat past satisfied. And do you eat past satisfied? When you're done, you're done?
Like I will know that I will feel bad, and so I try to eat fast so that I can eat more before I feel that way.
That sounds like another disorder. That sounds like a disorder. Terry says, I need to purchase this book. Yeah, you would like this book, Terry. It's really, really interesting. And it kind of makes you think, even if you don't agree with some of the stuff, it's like, oh yeah, like you're thinking about it, which is good because we're getting it out into the open and thinking about it. Janet says, I can eat when I'm full. Yes, Janet. So that's the difference. Janet. That's the difference. No, for you, but for Janet and for Amy.
I'm saying no.
Oh, no. Okay, right. But it's not about should or shouldn't, though. It's about we've got to change our mindset. That's why we're doing this. Okay. So characteristic 4, thin people generally have a pretty good gauge of how much they eat, whereas people with weight issues, we fool ourselves about how much we eat. Okay. So
and spend.
Are you going to bring up the budget right now?
Saying,
I like to underestimate everything.
How would you spend? 200. No, you spent 240. Yes.
What's another $40? Okay. So people who struggle with dieting delude themselves about how much they eat. Okay. This is why it's so important to track, you guys, because we, like I've been talking about, lying to the tracker, kind of fudging things a little bit. And I had some people get on to me for that, but it's true. Like, it's like, oh, I really don't want to put in that I had 3 servings of those potato chips. I'll just put that I had 2. And you're only lying to yourself, right? Okay. So, I don't know. Thin people generally have a pretty good gauge of how much they eat. They don't overeat very often. And when they do, they naturally eat less at their next meal.
Yes. I would say that's all true.
That's so different from me. Like I can, I think that that's where I mess up, because if I have a really big satisfying meal, like for lunch, I still want a full dinner. Whereas you'll be like, I'm just not hungry. That's what I'm talking about. He'll be just not hungry.
Right.
So.
But I don't, how can you do that? How can you eat like when you're not hungry? That's what I don't understand.
Right. Yeah. So you have that question. And my question is, how can you not eat if there's something good sitting in front of you? If there's something delicious, like right now we have all these dang muffins, and I will never eat one of those muffins. Right.
Right.
But they still are in there. And so.
And I would eat one.
I know that they're in there. And it's a constant source of tension for me, because I know they're delicious. I know each one of them is probably about 800 calories. I don't even know, probably all my points for the day to have, well, not at 800 calories, but it'd be a significant amount of points. So anyway, Michelle, thank you for moderating. She says weighing and measuring helps with that because you can lie on the tracker. Yes. So that's why it's really important to, if you say you have a serving of something, you actually weighed or measured it. So
I don't think they're really 800 calories, those muffins.
Those calories are...
They're from Costco.
They might be 500 or 600 calories. The big... they're not from Costco. They're from Sam's. You always call our Sam's Costco. It's not. It's Sam's Club. The muffins are those like big, like double chocolate. Blueberry and banana nut.
They have fruit. They're fruit muffins.
They're fruit muffins. Okay, honey. All right. So that's characteristic 4. So the Beck Diet Solution says you're going to learn how to effectively respond to the voice in your head that tries to convince you that you must eat right now. That's what this is going to do for me. I'm going to be talking to the voice in my head.
It's called schizophrenia. That's what that's called.
Okay. Characteristic number 5. You comfort yourself with food. Okay, listen to this. When thin people are emotionally upset, they don't turn to food for distraction or solace. Solace? It just doesn't cross their minds. If anything, they tend to lose their desire to eat. We were talking about this the other day because we had, some situations happening that happened. We've got some stressful stuff going on in our lives, and he was going through something stressful, and I want to go out to eat when that happens. I'm like, let's go out to eat, throw caution to the wind, pop a bottle of wine, eat all the breads. Whereas he goes the opposite direction and he doesn't want to eat when he's stressed out. So what do you guys think? Is that something? Ruth is giving thumbs up. What's Kim saying? I just love the taste of food even if I'm full. Yes, Kim, I'll keep on eating just because it tastes so delicious. That's right. And that's why it's so nice to have like those to be tracking before you eat, because then you have like those parameters.
Look, 600 calories of muffins.
Wait, who says there's 600 calories?
Debbie
Ann. Woohoo. I was close.
You said 800.
Then I went back and I said 500 or 600. Weren't the Otis Spunkmeyer muffins, weren't they 800? Anyway, Lucille says a medium blueberry store-bought muffin is 18 points. You guys, thank you for having my back on this. I love you. Okay, characteristic 5. What were we saying? They're looking at the points for me, so I don't go in there and shove one of those in my face.
Don't do it. You never would anyway. Like you have a will, like a strong.
I know.
Self-determination.
I do. Okay.
So yeah, I don't ever think if I have stress, which I'm a pretty low stress person. I'm pretty even keel.
Yes.
But if I do get stressed, I tend to clean. That's what I tend to do. I tend to organize. Right?
Yeah, you do. You clean. You vacuum.
Vacuum or straighten
vacuum a
or
lot.
something like that. But,
it's a good thing.
But I've never thought of comforting myself with food.
And I am the complete opposite. There is nothing better when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're mad, when you're stressed. There's just nothing better than eating.
Really? Anything?
What do you mean eating? Anything?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, it makes you feel better. It like
releases... a bowl of vegetables? Would that make you feel better? See, there you go.
Something delicious.
Right.
If I've had a bad day, I want to go out for something delicious for dinner. I want to go out. Notice I don't want to cook it. I want to go out. Ellen says that she'll eat unless it's like somebody died. Yeah. Thankfully, we haven't had two. Oh my goodness. I shouldn't even say that. Cross ourselves. Sorry. I was knocking. Nurses knock on wood.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Okay.
Priests don't do that.
Yes. No, Ellen, I know what you're talking about. Now, I have had, so when he was in his really bad car accident, initially I was unable to eat for 3 or 4 days. And then as he started to get better, the floodgates opened when we were 22. And his brother and my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and I, while he was in the hospital, when we would go eat, we were like shoving food. We were just shoveling food into our mouths. We were so stressed out. But it took like 3 or 4 days. Okay, why are we talking about this? I don't know.
I'm lying in the intensive care unit, and you're just shoveling food.
You were out of the ICU.
Okay,
you were out of the ICU, and if we went for, we had to eat lunch or something. And I remember like we went to this amazing sushi restaurant, and then one time we went to Steak and Shake. He was in the hospital for 2 or 3 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. He was really, really messed up, and we had to eat, and there was nothing else to do but sit and watch you be really messed up. And so we would go eat, and we ate a lot of sushi that one time. Okay, why am I talking? Pat says listening to this, I should be a thin person. What the heck? I know. So this is why I'm going through this chapter with you guys, because I feel like, is this accurate? Is this a generalization? Okay, so let's keep going. So you don't comfort yourself with food.
Yep. And
this book is supposed to help you. It's going to teach you to calm down in other ways by using distraction, relaxation, counteracting your sabotaging thoughts, and by solving the problems that were associated with your negative emotions. I will never be able to do any of that.
Don't say that. You got it. You're going to be all right.
Distraction and
encouragement.
relaxation. I've never okay. This book does not know me very well. Okay, characteristic number 6. You feel helpless and hopeless when you gain weight. Yes. Absolutely. Now, the thin person, though, when I was reading this is so true. When thin people gain weight, they usually don't see it as a catastrophe. They figure that they'll simply watch what they eat for the next few days or increase their exercise. This is totally him, you guys.
Well, we look forward to our fasting periods because we know we'll drop 8 or 9 pounds like that.
So he cycles. And so if he feels like he's getting a little tummy or something,
which I always have, yeah,
then more exercise, you stop eating a lot of stuff. I mean, you go down to like one serving of something. I mean, you really are very or you won't eat breakfast. You kind of do like intermittent fasting type stuff.
So I never had to even think about it until I hit 40.
Yeah.
Once you hit 40, then it's like, oh, you're getting softer here and here. And yeah. So then, I never thought about it. Not even once. I never thought about any of it until after 40. So
yeah, at 40, it was funny because he noticed he and his friends all started to kind of get a little rounder. And it was funny because I would notice you guys, if you would talk, you would poke at each other about the belly or whatever. And he started having to really work out. And he does. He gets on the elliptical now every morning. And you seem to be eating a little bit healthier.
What happens when you hit your 50s?
Oh, Michelle, don't tell us. We're getting there. He just had his 48th
I'm 48,
birthday.
so I'm pretty close.
Yeah. Wait till 50. Pat, you're killing me. Judy says wait till 70.
70.
Yeah.
Eventually you start losing all the weight though, right? Like in your 90s.
Yeah, well, my parents, they both lost a lot of weight in their 60s, and now in their 70s, they're back up again, struggling with it again. Oh, it's a lot. Okay, characteristic number 6. You feel helpless and we already did that one. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so the Beck Diet Solution teaches you how to learn from your eating mistakes and to recommit yourself to your diet right away. They're making us a lot of promises in this. Okay, characteristic number 7. You focus on issues of unfairness. Okay, this is all about comparison when I was reading this. So, and this is all about me. I do this with you all the time. So I owe you an apology.
Oh, where you say, it's so unfair. Like all the time?
Yeah.
Yes.
I do. It's not fair. It's not fair, but it's our reality.
Yeah.
So we do. We focus on... okay, it says, are you surprised to learn that most thin people restrict their eating to some degree? So this is what she's saying, based on the research, that people aren't just automatically thin. Now, his sisters...
I was up until 40.
And then you had to start
restricting
and exercising. Right.
Yeah.
But like your sisters, I always thought they were naturally, and they were really naturally very thin and slender. And then they told me once they hit 30, they had to start working out and eating right. They couldn't eat, all the stuff.
Yeah.
His sisters are beautiful. They're like model thin twins, gorgeously beautiful, very in shape. But I've noticed they're very careful now. Like when we go on vacation with them, I noticed they just do their little portions and they exercise and oh my goodness. Anyway, it's a whole different thing. Okay. So most thin people, especially women, stay thin by being incredibly careful about what they eat. They might tell you that they don't work on it, but mostly they do. I think that's interesting because the media always kind of portrays it as people that don't have a weight issue. Oh, we don't have to work on it. Like, you'll see famous women in the media eating like a hamburger or something. Then you think, how can she keep that figure and eat hamburgers every day? But the reality is she probably only ate that one hamburger in her whole life.
And then she purged.
I don't know about that, but yeah. Okay, so characteristic number 8. You stop dieting once you lose weight. Okay, so there's a significant difference between people who have lost weight and kept it off for many years and people who constantly yo-yo diet. People who end up maintaining their new weight do so because they've changed what they do and how they think about food. So if you think you'll be able to return to your old ways of eating, you're going to gain the weight back, basically. So that's interesting. I don't know how what that has to do with you.
If I put on a little bit of weight and I get back down to where I feel comfortable, then I will stop. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's what I would do.
Oh.
You wouldn't stop. Okay, so for example, during Lent, he always goes down. Right before Easter, he always goes down significantly, right? Maybe 8 pounds.
Maybe 8 pounds, 7 or 8 pounds.
7 or 8 pounds, which for him is significant. For me, that's a day-to-day fluctuation. But oh, we can do that. There we go. Was that when
a minute of vacuums first thing in the morning?
Yes. Okay, what were we saying? Sorry, I got distracted. Don't know. Oh yeah. So anyway, after Lent, you're always really careful, but I think you start to creep a little bit until the next fasting period. So we're Eastern Orthodox Christians, so we have a lot of fasting periods, and you guys have heard me talk about this before, but we have a very, very stringent 40-day, it's longer than that, fasting period in the spring, and he always goes down about the same amount of weight, and then you keep it off for a little bit, and then it starts to creep
Well,
interesting.
yeah, it's August and I've kept most of that off. Maybe like I've added maybe 3 pounds since April.
Yeah. But you've had to really like run and stuff. So,
yeah.
The Beck Diet Solution. In order to lose weight this time, you'll learn crucial cognitive therapy techniques that you'll use for the rest of your life. So, the techniques that you're going to learn in this book are planning what you eat, choosing healthy food, resisting cravings, soothing yourself without turning to food. That's important. Using good eating habits. And exercising. So those are all things that go hand in hand with WW. Something bit me. Something bit me. Okay, sorry. Something went up my shirt and bit me. Don't do that. Okay. Let's see. It doesn't require as much effort to maintain your weight as it does to lose it if you learn the skills you need along the way. And I think that's really important. We always talk about maintenance being hard, but from what you guys have told me, if you make it a habit change and a mindset change, then long term, it's not as hard as you think it's going to be, but you have to make those changes. And that's the thing with the yo-yo dieting is you haven't made it, or I haven't made the changes, or you haven't made the changes. And then when you yo-yo diet, it really jacks up your metabolism. So, and then you're getting older on top of it. It's kind of a mess. So that's kind of the how thin people think section of the book. That was chapter 3. We're going to move on to chapter 4 next week and start getting into some of the things that we can do. The next chapter is how to use the Beck Diet Solution. So we're going to start working on that next week. We're going to make little cards that have our whys on them. We're going to do all kinds of fun things together. So what do you think? Interesting? This made no difference to your life, this discussion. See, he doesn't need this.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I am already. And so
yeah,
for me, someone like me, it's more about, I should be more careful about what I eat, and I should exercise more. If I really wanted to get in shape, I would do that. But I don't really want to get in shape. Not really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want to just sort of maintain where I am and then lament the fact that I've got a little belly. But
well, yeah, and we talked about that a few weeks ago here on my channel. It was like, where are you on the, action scale? I mean, we say we want to do it, but are we really ready to change on that readiness scale? And I mean, this is one way that I would know if I was your nurse in my job, that I would know that you're in action is that you're reading a book like this and working on it, or you're going to Weight Watcher meetings, or you're weighing in every week, or you're tracking your food every day. Those are actions. Okay. So we want to move ourselves out of that like pre-contemplation, contemplation, planning mode into action. And this is a good way to do it, is to start thinking about how am I going to change up here? Because if we don't change up here, this may change, but it's going to go right back. Once you stop dieting, which we're not dieting, but if you're thinking of it like a diet, and we really need to change that verbiage, and stop talking about it like a diet. I don't ever talk about dieting,
no.
But is a constant source of frustration.
Well, you're always trying something. I think maybe, and I don't know, but maybe part of it is that there has to be enough time that passes so you know if it's effective or not, and you get frustrated and sort of either switch to something else, or you just sort of, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's part of it. It's just if you don't get results fairly quickly within a few months, you don't.
Well, that's like keto. I did keto for 3 or 4 months and nothing.
Yeah.
So Ellen says, I used to think like I could still eat in my 20s, and those days are well gone for sure. And I know even in my 40s, I've noticed things really slowing down, and things were slow when I was in my 20s. So let's see, any other comments? Michelle's going to try to get the book this week. Yeah, if you guys want to start reading, we really haven't missed anything yet. We haven't really gotten to the meat of it. We're going to be on chapter 4 next week, and we'll talk about that. This is just kind of a good thing to talk about. Now, listen, I like to be a critical thinker when I'm reading this kind of thing. Use what you can use.
Like how you're holding your phone like it's a book.
Apply what you can apply. And if it doesn't apply to you, jettison it. I want this stuff to be a tool for you, just like for me. There may be some things in here that don't resonate with you, because we're not all the same person. So let's see. Oh, thank you, Michelle, for zapping people. Michelle. Michelle wants to know, Amy, where is it written that life is fair? If it were fair, we would all be rich, good looking, and thin. Yeah, for sure. I think I feel like it's an injustice that, I don't know, it just feels like an injustice. But you're right. I do need to work on my thinking in regards to it not being fair, that it seems like he doesn't have to work at his physical fitness. But the reality is...
No, but it's true. I don't. Not nearly like you do.
Right.
And that is unfair.
But you have a lot of other problems that I don't have.
No, you have more problems than I do.
You're my number one problem.
She's got a lot of problems.
Hey, watch it.
So many.
We're on the internet. Shh. Okay. Anyway, thanks.
99 problems.
Thanks, guys, for hanging out and talking about the book. I do want to hear about your goals for the week. Mine are to... He says I can write on this in marker and fix it. Did you guys hear what I said? If you bought this jug, don't put it in the bottom. I've only had it for 2 weeks. I put it in the bottom of the dishwasher to get it clean, and all the little cute writing that told me don't give up and all that, it's all gone. All that's left is, it does say don't give up.
Actually, the don't's gone. It just says give up.
It says almost finished because the writing is almost finished. But yeah, be careful with this. Hand wash it if you pick this up. But my goals for the week are tracking, and then I'm sort of working on weeklies. I ate all my weeklies last week, and I think it shot me in the foot. Although I'm having a lot of friends talk to me now about needing to eat weeklies. I don't know. I've read some articles today that some people sent me. The jury is out, you guys. I don't know. But I'm kind of doing this, and I think he's right. I am really, dialed in and buckled down, but I just need to be extremely consistent right now. And when I'm consistent, we see results. If you look back on my channel, when I was very, very consistent for a long period of time, I lost 20 something pounds, almost 30 pounds, right? But, it's a lot. It's work. It is work. It is consistency. When you get bored, you just have to keep going. When you want to eat 4 pieces of lasagna, you have to keep going. When you want to eat the tiramisu, you have to keep going.
Which we don't have any
I
of that.
love tiramisu. Oh gosh, this is terrible. Estelle says if I eat my weeklies, I gain. Lucille says keep moving. I've been walking, Lucille. Thanks, Ruth. You guys stay in orbit. I will see you. We'll try to do this again next Sunday with chapter 4. So read chapter 4 and see if you agree or disagree, and let me know what you think about what you're reading out there. I'd love to hear about it. And I will see you guys this week with some weekly vlog stuff, some food vlogging, and probably a couple little car chats, and who knows what else. So thank you. Thanks for, I had to drag him. He was going to wear his Queen t-shirt, his sleeveless Queen t-shirt that he mows the yard in, and I told him he was not allowed to do that. So thank you for joining us today.
Next time.
He makes an appearance every once in a while. So thanks, guys, for watching. See you later. Bye. Stay in orbit. Stay in orbit.
Stay in orbit.
He's the one that came up with that. Stay in orbit. You did. You're so smart. Bye, guys. Love y'all. Stay in orbit. Stay in orbit.